Good morning and welcome back to my allotments. Today I'm featuring garlic and I'm featuring two pests that I'm struggling to beat. The first one is garlic rust, the second one is white rot. And I've done different things to the garlic crop and to the onions, but the onions aren't featured much today. And I want to see if I've made a real difference to the overall yields, and I'll be taking up the garlic as we go along so that we can actually see if it's a success or not and passing on my ideas. But first, let's remind ourselves what garlic rust looks like. This isn't my plot, this is my plants, but as you can see, these are well and truly pickled with garlic rust. Garlic rust itself doesn't actually destroy the plants, but it does inhibit photosynthesis, so it restricts bulb size, which is no good to us whatsoever. And there on this leaf here, I'm focusing on that is classic rust. On the right hand side, real bad rust. Message. Now, the first measure was particularly aimed against the white rot, so I filled this tube up with soil that was not infected and heavily enriched it with compost, and I think we can agree that it has worked very well. The leaves themselves aren't too badly affected by garlic rust, but to be honest with you, it's only the fact that these are so healthy that it's resisted the garlic rust. So that's what I was hoping for, but I particularly was hoping that there would be no onion rot, and that has come to pass. So that is something that is worthwhile trying out in future for definite. I had to water this a little bit, so it's not perfect system, but as you can see, the cloves are perfectly healthy enough. My idea of a success there. Now then, these garlic cloves were from the other container. The harvesting these came from this container, but I forgot to record the footage. Not as particularly interesting, but this one is a little bit more shaded from the apple tree that's to my left hand side there. It gives quite a bit of more shade, about 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day, and I think that has affected the clove size. If you compare the clove size, they are a little bit smaller, so the amount of sunlight definitely makes a difference. Now we're inside the tunnel, in amongst all the tomatoes that have been planted out, and in the autumn I planted out a few of the runt cloves in the Polytunnel. I wanted to see if the warmer conditions would make any difference, and they have. They definitely considerably less rust for starters, so the Polytunnel has defended the foliage quite a lot. And considering these are runt cloves rather than the best cloves, these have not turned out too bad at all. And again, I would say this is a success. I was expecting this to be white rot free anyway in here, because there's never been anything nasty done in here like onions. Yeah, so I'm pretty chuffed that. These are a little bit smaller now, but to be honest with you, it's only a reflection of the small size cloves that I started off with, and the bigger the cloves you plant, the bigger the cloves you harvest. That's the theory. Right, now we're on the borrowed plots and with elephant garlic, and time to harvest these as well. Now this one has split a little bit now, so they are starting to regrow after the damp conditions of recent, so the extra moisture has made them grow a little bit more. That's not what we want, so it is a good time to harvest.
perhaps a couple of days late. There it is again, look. It won't affect it too much, but it is a good idea to get them out of the ground. Nice sized cloves. Of course, elephant garlic is not real garlic, and elephant garlic is completely unaffected by garlic rust.
The elephant garlic is a success again, as expected. Good sized bulbs that you'd expect with elephant garlic, and a good result. No signs of white rot, and definitely the foliage is all really clean. There's no garlic rust on these, because they do not get affected by the garlic rust, and they're a great standby crop if your main garlic does succumb. We know they're not as potent as normal garlic. Their taste is quite different, but let's face it, if you can't grow because of disease, at least you can grow these.
Now, even though these overwintering onions have gone to seed, the roots are still good, so again, no sign of white rot, so all good news so far. And even though these aren't exactly great bulbs, they will be usable immediately or within the next week. So yeah, sort of success with overwintering onions.
So as thought, the harvest of the onions went really well, with only a couple with suspected white rot. This is on a new bed, so not using safe seed, it's worked well. Yeah, bit of a real success this one. There was one set that looks like it might have onion rot. The garlic is too young yet, it hasn't fattened up enough, it's got a little way to go, but this was the spring planted garlic, so I'm not surprised. It is showing a bit of rust now, but generally speaking, it's cleaner than the autumn planted stuff. Great stuff.
Right, this is onto my main plot now, and it's onto the summer onions. This is Paris silver skin onions for pickling, looking very good. Now this bed was treated with garlic powder last summer, so what I'm trying here is to see how firm these plants are in. The firmer they're in, the more likely there's no white rot present. It's a bit early to tell yet, but the indications are very good so far. I'm hoping that the application of garlic powder in solution last year worked well. And again, these Hermine onions, white onions, look really good. That looks a nice crop there, even better than the last bed I've just harvested. This bed, the current carrot bed, which is a little bit sparse because of errors, and squash plants, is going to be where I'm going to apply the garlic powder for next year. And that bed has definitely got white rot, as has the strawberry bed on the other side of the onion bed. So this is a real hot test. Now this bit of footage is tagged on to the onions mainly because I thought it might be of interest, as it's so hot and dry at the moment. I've had to mute it because of a tree surgeon taking down trees in the woods immediately next to me, and the noise was horrendous. Anyway, so what it is in the foreground are two squash plants exactly the same as the squash plants under the plastic, and you can see there's a growth difference in between the two plants. So far the moisture retention of the plastic is working really well, and I have watered the top plants where I haven't watered the under plastic plants. Again, this is a new bed established with good amounts of compost, same compost as I used in these tubes raised above the bed's height, and those two plants are working considerably better than the conventional no dig. Both are fine no dig because there's no disturbance of the soil. It's just that I've got a depth of compost in the two plants above. Well, thank you very much for joining me again, and a quick flashback to what I was up to last week on holiday on the canal. Lovely, very peaceful holiday with these two lovely people. Lovely nature, peaceful times.